All right, everybody, welcome into the Bettor In-Laws podcast. It is week 16, Matt, right?
16.
Yes, week 16. All right. Keeping track of dates now. It's official. Finally can work with
16
numbers
weeks in.
and be good at them. What?
16 weeks in. It's a good
Yeah.
time to start.
Yeah. Another successful week for us. Very
Very.
successful week. Um, yeah, so I just thought for some reason we had our highest streamed episode,
Because
but
we're winning.
and that includes the Joe Murray episode, which was surprising.
Stay hot. We got to stay hot.
Yeah, exactly. You are hot. I'll say that. You're very hot.
Well,
Uh,
right now, I've hit my stride, I feel like.
yeah,
Hoping to keep that going.
yeah. So why don't you just take us through? I think this is another opportunity to give us our season stats, and especially your best bets, Matt, because they're a doozy and pretty impressive, if you ask me.
Yeah. Season stats right now, well, you're 38, 36 and 1 overall, 8 and 7 on best bets.
Oh,
Myself,
yeah, whatever.
44, 29 and 2 for me on the season.
Yep.
10, 3 and 2 on best bets. So
3-2 on best bets, and that
and
is what percentage, Matt?
right off the top of my head, that's
Or the
like
one.
I carry the one. I want to say
Carry
70-ish.
that. Carry
70.
that one.
Hold on, I can do it real quick. I got it.
Carry that fucking one.
Jesus, on the spot.
I
Uh
think it's like 77%, and you like
yeah, it's
that in
77.
the socials. I
77%.
literally teed you up for it.
Yeah, I forgot.
You
Go
just
we did.
forgot.
77%. Oh yeah, I put it on social media. I put it on I did. I put it on our Twitter and Instagram the other day.
I
Uh,
know. That's why I was teeing you up for it, but
yeah,
swing and miss.
it was on our social. So yeah, we 77% there on best bets. We gotta look to continue it. Went 15
That's,
and 3 last year. We're not gonna make that mark because of two pushes, but want to win out and go 13 and 3 and 2 on best
yeah.
bets. That's the goal.
Um, like to just take this opportunity, in case we have any new listeners. The format of the show is we do likes, the rest, and best bets. And if you couldn't tell that, we are brother-in-laws, hence the name Bettor In-Laws. And my role on the show is, uh, I guess, to drive the ship and be kind of the couch better, if you will, and just kind of give my take as a fan watching from the couch. And Matt, on the other hand, is the professional in the room. It's not even close, as he just told you with his stats, and he keeps all of his spreadsheets and all that shit. He's really good at what he does. So that's his role. He's the professional, and I'm the couch viewer. So that's the format of the show, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah,
Um,
from a transparency standpoint, though, just want to call it, I'm not a professional bettor.
Yeah,
I do have a day
I'm
job.
okay.
No, I'm just
Yeah,
telling
yeah,
you for the
yeah.
people, for
I'm
the
calling
listeners,
you the
for the,
professional gambler. Like
for
you
the
might have a
listeners.
day, I'm talking. You might have a day job, but you're a professional gambler. Let's call it what it is. I'm just saying you are.
By definition.
By definition, yes, you're very much invested in this and you do a very good job at it and have been for my two
Okay.
years since doing this podcast. I think you're like 26 and 1 for like best bets since I've been the host of the show. It's like something stupid like that.
25, 25, 6 and 2.
Yeah, I mean, Jesus, Matt. No, what the hell? And you're not saying you're professional? Like Jesus
Well,
Christ.
by the definition, letter of the law, you have people that do this for a living, and that's all they do. I
Right,
just want to be
right.
clear. Like
I think everybody knows you're not doing this
I
professional.
also, for the flip side, do invest a lot of time
Yeah,
researching, like you're trying to say, with the
and
spreadsheets and everything.
that's what I meant by
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
That's all I meant.
yeah.
Uh, you're very good at what you do. So that's the format of the show. In case you're looking for guidance. Um, if you haven't done so already, subscribe to our socials at Bettor In-Laws and on YouTube. Leave all the comments and the 5-star reviews if you could. It's a holiday season we're giving, so if you could give us that, that would be great. And one thing I forgot to mention last week, Matt, is turn on notifications for
Mm.
YouTube, Apple, Spotify, because I've had people hit me up, Fox, if you're listening, being like, "Hey, where's the pod?" I'm like, "Hey, It was published. Just turn on your notifications and you'll be notified. It's as simple as that. It's a little bell looking thing. So you might think that you've already done that, but just double check and go in, and you don't have to go seeking for the podcast because it'll let you know.
Yeah.
So that's that. Yeah, so as you mentioned, Matt, last week, very successful. Both of us went 4-1. I guess my loss was the best bet. And I'll tell you this, Matt. I felt worse about this pick come Friday, Saturday range
Mhm.
because I saw a lot of people jumping on the Steelers, and I always hate when that happens. I hate it. So
Yeah.
I was not feeling confident in that. What I should have done last week, and this is a lot of me on the show, is what I should have done. That's a theme on this podcast. I, without a doubt, should have made the Detroit Buffalo game my best bet, the over. I mean, that was the easiest handicap I've had this season. Both
Yeah.
teams average 30 points a game in terms of their offense. So what the hell am I missing? Why is this at 54 and a half? And sure enough, the over hit with minutes to go in the third quarter.
Yeah.
Um,
That
that
was
should have been my best bet.
not a lot of punts in that game.
No, 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 no.
No,
And
but yeah, it happens though. I mean, yeah, Philly's a wagon right now. They're tough. They're tough out right now.
what,
My
what
number
are you
one
talking
team
about?
in
Why
football
are you
right
talking
now
about Philly?
because they beat the Steelers. That was your best bet.
Oh,
Saying that
sorry.
they're a tough out right now. They're a tough
Yeah.
that they're and the spot was tough with the Steelers playing the Ravens this week and in Philly coming off the Carolina game. It's just that's gambling though, right? It's a lot
Right.
of it is just Mike Tomlin as a dog is as good as it gets. So,
Yeah, near
we've talked
60%.
about that and so there's things on both sides. So I understood you. I never got to the window with Philly. I know I was talking about it with you and on your show that I was heavily leaning that way, but I didn't get there. It was a big regret I had on Sunday.
Hmm.
One of the few. One of the few. I had a great Sunday, so I won't complain.
Yeah. Yeah. The Packers for your best bet was that was over in the first quarter, man. That
Close.
Seahawks did not show up.
Yeah, not close in that one. It
Yeah.
was they just came out and ran right down their throat. I loved that first drive by Matt LaFleur. Josh Jacobs touched the ball like 9 times, touchdown.
9 times.
Oh, it was unbelievable. Just a beautiful way to start the game.
And then
Yeah,
your only loss was Carolina last
Carolina was over
night.
pretty quick. It was the wrong side. And I said it right on this podcast. I had people texting me all weekend about it. That I even said on the podcast, I normally would fade Carolina in the spot, but I'm not going to.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just get ahead of yourself. But
Yep.
Dallas, I also didn't expect Cooper Rush to, turn into like, Peyton Manning in his prime. All of a sudden, well,
And
even
the Dallas defense is finally showing up too.
yeah, they're starting to play some football with Parsons back. They start to look good. But Cooper Rush throwing off his back foot, back of the end zone, perfect passes, 30 yards downfield. I'm like, what
Yeah.
is going on?
Yeah.
But 4-1 week for both of us. We take that. Really trending in the right direction, getting hot at the right time.
Mhm.
So yeah, we'll look to keep it rolling.
Yeah, let's do that indeed. Let's get right to it. Let's jump
Yeah.
to week 16. Matt, why don't you kick things off here, Matt, with your first like of the week, considering we just brought them up, the team, and that would be one Pittsburgh Steelers, Matt.
Yeah, we got a little play in the same game, but different. So, but not head to head. You're on the total, it looks like. Pittsburgh for me, Tuck. Plus 6.5. I just some spots going to 6. Don't care. Take the 6. Um, really. Where's my notes from a few weeks ago? I just wanted to quickly just steal that handicap I had because it's the same thing pretty much. But here we go. Let's just do updated stats because that was my best bet a few weeks ago when I was getting the Steelers plus 3.5 at home, and now I'm getting 6.5 on the road.
Yep.
Well, Lamar Jackson is now 0-5 against the Steelers in his career, so he's never beaten the Steelers. Steelers have won 8 of the last 9 against the Ravens outright.
Nice.
And even in that one win that the Ravens had in that 9-game stretch, they only won by 2 points, a 16-14 game. Um, so the Steelers have sort of had the Ravens number as close as these two teams play. You know my rule in this game, Tuck. I say it all the time. If I'm betting the dog, and is especially if it's 3 or above. Like
Yeah.
that's what I'm doing in this game. Now they're getting 6, and I think it's all about how they looked last week, getting manhandled up front by the Eagles. We talked last week, and I said the game scared me a little bit because Philly's been playing so well. We talked about how it was a sandwich spot for Pittsburgh, where they were looking ahead to this week against the Ravens, and Philly's sandwich spot was the week before at Carolina against the Panthers, where they almost got in that game. So this game is huge. This one's for the division. It's Pittsburgh and Baltimore. It's going to be a complete dogfight. It's a Saturday game, Saturday afternoon. And would you want it any other way here with these two teams coming down the stretch? The Ravens a game behind the Steelers. Not only did we watch the Steelers get manhandled, but we also saw Lamar throwing 5 touchdowns in that game against the Giants. So
Yeah.
I think that speaks to why the line is 6 here. Tomlin is an underdog. We talk about his stats all the time. I looked up historically what he is as an underdog. All time, he's 62, 32, and 3. 65% all time
Jesus.
ATS, as good as it gets. Now, one thing I'd really like to have in this game is George Pickens. I know he's questionable at the moment, but the
I
Steelers,
think I think he plays.
I
I
think
think
so
he
too.
shows up. Yeah.
The way they're talking, it seems a little bit more optimistic. Last week didn't seem like he really had much of a chance at all to play in that game.
Yeah.
This week seems like he does have a real good shot. But even if they don't have him, I still think this number is a little crazy, right? Like they were
Yeah.
just 5.5 point dogs last week at Philadelphia. Who's the better team, Philadelphia or Baltimore? It's the answer is Philly. Philly's
Oh,
the
it's not
team
even,
of
yeah. I
football right
thought
now,
those
right?
rhetorical. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But Philly's the it's not even close. I mean, what's close? I mean, I make them power rated a couple points better than Baltimore. So I don't know. I just think this is way too many points. For the fact that Baltimore is a heavier favorite than Philly in this game, I that is mind blowing to me. This is a field goal game to me. Maybe Baltimore finally gets the monkey off their back in this game, but if they do, it's going to be with a Justin Tucker field goal at the end. Give me the Steelers +6 here. Love
Yeah.
this.
They got to get Justin Tucker going. You didn't get much work last week, obviously, coming off the bye with the Giants game and it being a blowout.
Yeah.
But yeah, that this has easily been his worst season to this point. So it would no better spot than to get right than divisional with your division on the line to get right for this one.
Mhm.
So there you go there. All right, Matt, let's go to my first like here. Looking at the Kansas City and Houston game, not anything on the spread. I'm actually looking at the point total here and give me the best possible number, Matt, but give me the under 41.5 here. Uh, from what I gather, Matt, and correct me if I'm wrong, but both teams are pretty much locked in for like their playoff seedings, right? The only thing that Kansas City has to worry about is losing and Buffalo getting the number 1 seed, but like the Texans don't really have a lot of movement, right, in terms of seeding.
Not really. They're kind of
Yeah.
in 4 spot. I mean, they
So,
could technically sneak
so
in the 3.
right. So my point is like there's really nothing to gain from both either of these teams. Um, not
One
sure
seed for the Chiefs. They got to win.
they don't gotta win. They do
Well,
they do have a cushion, but yeah,
they got a buffer.
Buffalo's right there. But now you're dealing with the implications of all right, well, do we want to keep our quarterback healthy or do we really want the number 1 seed? Ideally both would be great, obviously, but I think they're going to prioritize, keeping Mahomes healthy, obviously. Um, I could just see this being a very conservative game on both fronts. I don't think that if Mahomes does play, and I guess there are shockingly rumors or reporting that he could tough this out and play, which I think is the wrong move. But you saw Joe Mixon get banged up last week too. I don't know. I would assume he's going to play. I'm not 100% on that, but he did leave that game last week banged up. Um, and these teams could see each other in the playoffs. So I think you could see a conservative approach, not looking to unload too much of your playbook for these two respective teams. So I just think this is a weird, boring game that's going to be like, I don't know, like 20-17, something like that, 21 14, just kind of low-ish scoring and under 41 and a half. So that's my first like there.
I'll tell you what, I think Mahomes is playing. The line indicates that he did. I'll also tell you that when this opened, I grabbed 2.5. I have plus 2.5 with the
So,
Chiefs in the game. So
so the
uh,
Chiefs are plus 1.5, right?
no, they're 3-point favorites right now.
Chiefs are 3-point favorites now.
Yeah. So
Okay.
this line's moved over the last day. And I was fine with 2.5 with Carson Wentz because I'm worried about Houston. I don't like what I'm seeing out of Houston right now. Um, Being on them was a double like for us last week. That one, they only won that game because Tua was pretty terrible turning the ball over, and they get 3 interceptions in that game. So I really don't like what they're doing on offense. Now, Mahomes has not been announced in, but I think that he's gonna gut this out and play. I also think he's a little dramatic. We always talk about this. I think it's like his typical end of the year. Now we got to be the underdogs again. And I get out of here with you, fraud. I mean, he's awesome, of course, but like, you don't need the theatrics. I'm not sure how banged up he is, but who am I to judge? I'm in my couch. Anyways, either way, I'm on Kansas City here plus 2.5. At this line, I still like it. If Mahomes is in and it doesn't go up more than 3, which I think it will slightly. I still like Kansas City in the spot. More of a fade of Houston. Again, don't like what I'm seeing out of Houston right now. They just seem off.
Like
It's weird.
yeah, they seem off, and again, they have nothing really to gain by winning this. So I just
Seeding.
think they're
I
gonna.
mean, it's seeding. If Pittsburgh loses to Baltimore and they won this game, they'd technically be tied for the 3 seed. So like, and they
Yeah,
would
but
be,
I think
they're
what's more
hanging.
important is not showing their cards.
Yeah, I mean, depends because right now, if you're looking at the playoff picture just from a seeding perspective, whoever ends up in the 4 seed is going to have to play that Pittsburgh Baltimore loser. That's a tougher game than playing like a Denver, like who's kind of overshooting right now. Maybe the Chargers, like
Yeah.
they sneak in that spot. Like, I don't know. I'd rather play one of the AFC West teams there than I would the AFC North. That's just me. The path there, plus getting the home game. Um, I don't know. I mean, it's all about seeding right now. Kansas City and Houston both clinched the division, as we said. I don't disagree with your pick though. Either way, I think it's a low scoring game.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't know. It seems like there's a lot of weather going on this weekend too. So
Very cold as well.
right, right. So, all right, Matt. What is your second like for the week?
All right. I just told you about how good the Eagles have been, right? And like not to fade them. Well, I'm fading them. Give me the Commanders plus 3.5 here. Very key number there. So I think everyone knows at this point. I've been an Eagles fan this year. I cashed the preseason win total ticket. They are my Super Bowl pick. I love their offseason move, picking up Saquon Barkley, amongst other things they did to bolster the team. But here, I think, is the time to fade Philadelphia. And I could be wrong, but I'm going with it. First of all, I make the game Philly minus 2.5. So right away, I'm getting a point of value through a key number of 3, which I love.
Mhm.
Getting that 3.5 is really nice value there. This is a rematch of that Thursday night game when Washington was going kind of toe to toe with Philly in the first half. It was a defensive game, and then in the second half, we saw Saquon become Saquon. He went off, and the Eagles end up winning and covering that game, in which we were on Philly that night. So a nice little
Right.
nice little win for us there. But here on Washington for a few reasons, right? So first off, in that game, Jaden Daniels was coming off that injury that he had. He was playing a little bit more tentative in that game. Wasn't running around like we've seen him do more recently, right? Since then we've seen him even last week in New Orleans. A lot of running around using his legs, playing like he was in the beginning of the season. The second big thing is like, what's the status of Saquon for this game? He was banged up in that Pittsburgh game, and even if he plays, if he's anything less than 100%, that's even more value. When I say I make the game 2.5, that's with a healthy Saquon. So, if he's out or which I think he's going to play, but if he does, is he 100%? We don't know. So I think that also plays into this a little bit.
So
Um,
I'm sorry. Keep going.
I was just going to say that the game being in Washington helps here. It's a huge game for the Commanders, right? They almost got caught looking ahead last week against the Saints. The Saints coming back in that game, coming down to a 2-point conversion. Still came out of it with a win. and they're lucky they did because they're hanging on to that 7 seed right now for dear life with Seattle lurking
Yeah.
just a game behind, a couple of teams at 7-7, so just 2 games out. So if they start to downfall here, that seed is not a sure thing. And then finally, I'll just say this: that Washington, they still have Atlanta next Sunday night, who, the railing did win Monday night, not playing all that well, made a QB change. We'll get to them.
Yeah.
And then at Dallas, who's starting to play really well. We talked about that earlier in the show. So not a cakewalk at all for the Commanders in their last 3 games. They have to take it game by game. We know we're getting max effort from them. They desperately need to win this game. They want to win this game. And then from Philly, you're going to get a max effort. They're going for the 1 seed right now, both 12-2 with Detroit and the Vikings. But here, if I'm getting 3.5, I'll take the healthier team to cover this number. I do like Washington to cover plus 3.5.
I'll say this too in terms of Saquon and getting him right and ready for the playoffs. The Commanders defense since that week 11 matchup have not allowed 100 plus rushing yards since. So held Dallas to 92 yards, Tennessee to 38 yards, and Saints to 58 yards. A lot of that could be, game script, right? But the Commanders defense does look improved from where they were earlier this season. So I'll just add that um, wrinkle. All right, Matt. This next pick is going to be controversial, I think, but I am backing the Atlanta Falcons this week at -8.5, given the news of Kirk Cousins being benched in favor of Michael Penix. And you saw the line move off of 9.5 initially on this news with Penix taking the helm. But I think it's a positive. I think it's a huge positive, especially since it's at home and versus a garbage team and the Giants. I mean, the Giants are on their fourth string quarterback at this point with Tim Boyle, right? Like, what the hell are you going to expect there? Um, and Atlanta's defense, looked a little bit improved. I know it was against the Raiders last week on Monday Night Football, but still, like, they're starting to feel like the pressure in terms of winning the division, and I think they're going to show up versus this Giants team. And just the problem with Atlanta has been the quarterback and really not much else. I know that the secondary has had issues, but the main problem has been Kirk Cousins. And I think this solves that. Like, this Atlanta offense is loaded. Go down the list. Drake London, Bijan Robinson, Kyle Pitts is athletic as hell. He hasn't delivered. I get it. But even, Darnell Mooney is good too. And Ray McLeod. Like, it's a good, solid offense. So, I see this as more like a 10-point win, maybe more. Um, I just believe in Penix for this one. I believe in Penix on his home turf versus a crap team of the Giants who have absolutely nothing to play for at this point. So give me Atlanta -8.5 here. And you're probably going to hate this pick. I know.
No, I don't. I actually I'm not going to bet it, but I will. I can't bet the Giants right now. I don't think they're trying. I think they want a
Yeah.
quarterback. They know that. I'm seeing them miss 30-yard field goals to win game. Like, it's
Yeah. The race is on for that number one pick.
they don't want to win. So it doesn't matter. And if they are actively trying, and they're still that bad, then that's another reason you don't want them, right? So like the Giants to me are not a bettable team. This line opened at 9, went up to 10. Then people realized, holy shit, we have a 10-point favorites, and Kirk Cousins is the quarterback, and he's been terrible. Then
Yeah.
then it came back down to 9. They announced Penix,
Hmm.
8.5. This line's just been all over the place. I actually like it more, and this is very rare, but I like it more with the QB change
Yeah.
because as players, they're like, what the hell's going on with Kirk right now? Like, he's been terrible. We gotta we're better than this. We are.
Right.
And, like, he's not giving us a chance. And they're not gonna say that publicly, but you have to be thinking that, right? So in this
Yeah.
spot where you have a highly touted rookie, he's obviously sat for a while, he's got to learn. Give him his shot. I like the call. You have nothing to lose here. You're a game behind Tampa. You need to win. Your quarterback's
Got a
not helping
regular
you
season.
win.
Yep.
He didn't play well Monday night either, again, even in the win.
Oh,
So I will not be on this game whatsoever. I don't hate it. I'm not I'm not just blindly taking the Giants in this spot.
all right, Matt. What is your third like here?
All right, buddy. Third like for me, this one, going back to Seattle. We were there last week with Green Bay as my best bet. And are we getting the same game here? I got Minnesota -3 Three started to pop today. There's still some 3.5, so shop around. If you get a three, I love it. 3.5, meh, not as much, but if you can get the three,
Yeah,
play
that's
the
where I'm
three.
at too.
Um, I think this like this could possibly be the same game we saw last week, right? So I think Minnesota and Green Bay are pretty even teams. And we now this week we get Minnesota traveling out to Seattle for the game against the Seahawks. This one for a 4:30 slate Eastern time, as opposed to Sunday Night Football. But last week I made the Packers my best bet, -2.5. They jumped them early. They never turned back. And I said, I think this Seattle team is completely overrated. I went through the fact that they haven't really beat anyone. Their best win is still week one with Bo Nix against Bo Nix being their, you know, rookie quarterback going to Seattle. And that's one of their better wins on the year. Like, I think it's going to show Sunday. The Vikings are playing for the number one seed in the NFC, and despite being doubted week after week by me sometimes too, will admit, hand up, they continue to win and cover most spreads. This Vikings team has the fourth best win margin in the NFL. Tuck. So the theory that they only win they only, can only win very close games, that's not really true. When you're fourth in the league, you're actually much better than that, right? So. Um, Offensively, the Vikings, what we started to see on Monday night is really getting Aaron Jones back in the game. And I know it's the Bears and everybody's running on the Bears, but starting to see him get going a little bit. Justin Jefferson over the last couple weeks woke up from his mini slump. And Jordan Addison's been fantastic over the last month, one of the better receivers in football. On the Seattle side, we saw Geno Smith exit Sunday's game. And while all signs are that he's going to try and play through this, what does he look like? If he's not 100%, it spells trouble for me for this Seattle team against a Vikings defense who continues to flourish under Brian Flores. More specifically, they're excellent against the run, which is what Seattle's going to try to do, especially if Geno's banged up in the game. The Vikings are second in the league, allowing just 89 yards a game on the ground. They only allow 67 per game when they're on the road. So with a healthy Geno, I do think Seattle could move the ball a bit in the game through the air.
Hmm.
But I mean, we saw Green Bay absolutely manhandle them last week at the O line, and that O line is playing a little above their heads, and Green Bay exposed them last week. Now we get the Vikings coming in, who can get to the passer, but just as good as anyone, especially with that blitzing scheme, causing chaos for the offensive line. I don't see it here. I think the Vikings win this game closer to a touchdown, so I'm on Minnesota -3.
And the theme that you've seen with the Seahawks is like they just lose to good teams,
Yeah, they
plain and simple.
teams
You know?
that they're better than, and they don't beat teams that they're not.
Now, I will say this that the Vikings schedule during this 7 game win streak has been an absolute gift, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Colts, Jags, Titans, Bears, Cards, Falcons, Bears.
Mhm.
So this is the Seahawks are not exactly in that tier of teams. Um, but still, Vikings are a really good team, and the Seahawks haven't proved it this year. Still a lot of question marks with that team. So
Yep.
I like it.
Still think they're overrated here.
Yeah. All right, Matt. This one's not going to shock you for my third like here. When I heard that this game was flexed to 425, I think this was a sign that the NFL wants to showcase this game and showcase the ass whooping that is going to be. Give me the Bills -14.5 here. NFL wants to put this rootable team in front of a national audience with this pivot to 425 and showcase the MVP of the league dominate. Not only a garbage team, but a Patriots team, a team that has just dominated for 20 plus years. And now they are the worst team in the league, I think. Um, this is not going to be close. Buffalo might win by 21 plus, getting like Lions vibes, blowout vibes, or Ravens blowout vibes from the Giants game last week. They're going to win the AFC, I think. I think they're going to catch up to the Chiefs. And this is a statement blowout game for this organization. And it's going to be an absolute party in Buffalo. Fan base is going to be ecstatic. Not to mention, in terms of the Patriots and their absolute no show last week, coming off a bye week, going on the road in Arizona with a winnable game, albeit I did pick the Cardinals last week because of the Patriots being such garbage. But now you saw these controversial post game comments from Gerard Mayo, pretty much throwing Alex Van Pelt under the bus in terms of not running Drake May on a key 4th and 1 situation and just shoving Ramondre Stevenson up the gut for a stuff. And Gerard Mayo asked after the game. Everybody probably knows this already, but after the game, he was asked that question, and he pretty much said, "You said it, I didn't." And way to throw your offensive coordinator completely under the bus. Gerard Mayo's rumors in terms of being fired are now turning into reporting. I know that Diane Rossini of The Athletic had a report over the weekend that he is safe, but I think everything changed on Sunday, and Burt Breer's kind of been all over this. He said that he's never seen anything like that in his 20 years covering the NFL. Burt Breer said that in terms of what you're saying post game. Like, that's a friggin' joke what happened. Pair that with the fact that you now have a visual of Jonathan Kraft talking to his dad, Robert Kraft, with a pen and paper, which we've never seen ever. I think change is coming to New England. I think everybody knows it, and they're going to get their asses whooped in Buffalo. So give me the Bills minus 14.5 here, and it would not shock me if this moved to 15.5 by Sunday, man.
Yeah, it's a big number, but I don't know. You can't step in front of Buffalo here. I will say this. This is another one I won't get to the window on. I know, but I lean your way. And more so, the thing that I'll give you one thing I like about it and one thing I don't, and why I'm off it. So the one thing I like about it is you have a fully motivated Bills team that, as of now, can still get that 1 seed if Kansas
Mhm.
City trips up. So you like that, and you like the fact that Josh Allen is going to win an MVP. At this point, his betting odds are just ridiculous.
Yeah,
Um,
9-1, right?
so what's that?
9-1, right?
He's like he's like minus 900 or something insane.
That 9-1.
No, 9-1 would be like plus 900.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, yeah. So
Um,
minus 900.
minus, yeah. But the other thing is like the Bills. The one thing that worries me is even though it's the Patriots and it's the division game, they just came off two massive games against the Rams and Lions, and now they get to go back home.
Mm-hmm.
Josh Allen did have an MRI on his shoulder, just like a precautionary thing right after the game because he felt it, and then it went away. He just wanted to get it checked out from a mental side. Do they ease up a little bit in the second half against this team? I don't think so, but like
Ray Davis game.
enough to keep me off. It's a lot of points,
Ray
but at
Davis
this
game,
time,
then.
yeah, I mean, same thing. I do think Buffalo probably is the right side here. So lean your way, but won't get there on this
I'm
one.
not concerned about garbage time. I love Drake May and everything, but I think this Buffalo D is going to be jacked up. Wouldn't shock me if they scored here on a strip sack fumble or another kickoff return versus this Patriots team that we've seen Buffalo do in the past. It's going to be ugly for a Patriots fan on Sunday. It's going to be ugly.
This isn't the Arizona Cardinals who they just get buried against.
Yeah, not just lost, Matt, buried
And embarrassing, really. That was an embarrassing loss. I
off of the
thought that
bye.
game was. I thought the Patriots could cover that number.
Nope.
I was like more on the Pats than I thought the Cardinals could do it, and that was just a gutless effort. That team is.
If there's one thing I know, it's I have the feels for this Patriots team, whether it was during their success or during their woes, like we are going through now.
Yeah,
I know this team very well.
yeah.
They're gonna get their asses whooped on Sunday. So I'll leave it at that. All right, our final like here, Matt, is a double like.
Yeah, look at that.
Look
All
at
right.
that. Look at that.
Cool with that.
Why don't you kick it off here?
Well, finally, we're talking about the game of the day, baby. The Jags travel out to Vegas. What's better than this, Tuck? I love that we have a double like on this game. Of course we do.
Yeah. I
Why
mean,
wouldn't we?
I'll say this. Jaguars didn't fold up. They're playing
No.
hard. They're playing hard right now. And they almost won that game. I know it's against the Jets, but still Aaron Rodgers was slinging it. They're playing hard. So I'll give them that. Sorry, continue.
Yeah, no, that's part of it is just other than the fact that we're putting US currency on this game. That's the reason. You got Mac Jones and Brian Thomas have a great connection going on right now.
Very good.
Better than what Lawrence and Brian Thomas were doing, quite honestly. And they've proven that no matter how bad they are, like you just said, they're giving that effort week in, week out. I'm stunned by this Jags team. I thought Doug Peterson would be fired by now. I would
Yeah.
thought he would have been fired like
Does
eight
he
weeks
stay?
ago, I feel like. Uh,
Stay?
what's that?
Does he stay?
No, I can't imagine he stays. But
Why
I
are they,
think they're
they're
just
playing
letting
so
him ride.
hard? They're playing
I
so
don't
hard
know.
for the guy.
They are playing hard, but they're the reality is they're 3 and whatever the hell they are, 3-11.
Yeah, but you can chalk it up to injuries, right? But yeah, even
Eh,
I know it's
somewhat. I don't
I
think him and Trevor Lawrence get along very well, and I think they're keeping Trevor. So
maybe that's it.
I also don't think he's a great coach. But at the end of the day, they are playing hard for him. They're giving effort, which is something you can't say about the Vegas Raiders. I do not think they're giving effort. I think Vegas and the Giants are the two actively tanking teams in the NFL who want quarterbacks, are currently in the 1 and 2 slot right now.
Mhm.
And I think they're going to do everything in their power to lose these games. So that's my thought process. With Vegas too, Max Crosby out for the year. Like their quarterback situation's a nightmare. Their running back situation's a nightmare. Their only bright spot really has been Brock Bowers, who's been a stud, but they can't even get him the ball. I mean, that has just been pretty awful. So even if the Raiders aren't tanking, Tuck, I actually make the game Jags -1.5 here. So I get the wrong team favored. I think Aiden O'Connell probably plays he was close.
Sounds like it. Sounds like it.
Um, so what? Like, do you care about that? I don't. I mean, if Desmond Ritter ever played, I'd love the Jags. We're talking like best bet stuff, but that's probably the difference with Ritter versus O'Connell. It's just a strong like for me here. In the most disgusting game this week, we're gonna take the team that's more talented, playing better,
Right.
cares, has a
Yeah.
legitimate connection. They're a little fun to watch on top.
They should absolutely be favored.
I mean, give me yeah, Jags +1.5. The wrong team's favorite. Said it
Yep.
before, I'll say it again. I like the Jags to win out right here. Um,
And I don't know if this matters, Matt, but if you recall, the last time Mac Jones was in Vegas was with the Patriots, and it was on
oh,
that Jacoby Myers lateral play that was an absolute disaster.
yeah,
And maybe he's looking to get a little revenge and for that.
that will never leave
And
my head.
and
That that
what's that?
that play will never leave my head. I think that lives
Yeah.
rent in my head. That was
Like
one.
he's gonna maybe I wonder if he has any motivation for that to get the win. From that aspect, maybe not at all. It's just something I
Jacoby Myers because he threw him the pass.
yeah, yeah. Um, and Mac Jones is still playing for his career. Let's not
Yeah,
shove that to the side here. Like he's got to, he's had some bad picks since he's taken over for Lawrence, but there are some positives. There are some positives, and he's going to be playing for a job going into the offseason here. Um, So he's got to shine these last few games here with the Jaguars and try and extend his NFL career. He's not going to be a starter, but he could get some decent backup money
he
somewhere.
be a good backup somewhere,
Yeah.
solid.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
Good.
He's
Yeah,
still going to make money at the end of the day.
should.
So yeah, the wrong team's favor here, and I'm right there with you. It's a double like uh, for me there. Um, all right, let's jump to the rest here, Matt. Oh, before I do that, you had a little something to harp on in regards to
Oh,
YouTube TV
yeah.
getting a price increase, Matt.
Oh, my heart breaks.
What's it, $84 a year now?
Oh, my heart breaks for the cord
Or is it a
cutter.
month? Is it a month? I don't even know
Month,
what it is.
a month, I think. Yeah, a
It
month.
is a month. Yeah.
If
Yeah.
it
What
was
am
a
I talking
year,
about?
that's a steal. Um, no, the cord cutters, they're all upset about Peacock and the playoff games and all that. And I had a little Comcast rant a few years, was last year of that. I had a little fun with it. And then I see everyone melting down on Twitter about YouTube TV. What are you doing? You're going up.
Yeah.
What did you guys expect? What do you think? You were just going to sit around? They're going to give you a deal to make you sign, and then you leave Comcast and
Just
Verizon.
stay with cable.
Stay
Oh,
with cable, baby. Cable rocks. Enjoy your delays. Not me. Thriving. Can live bet beautifully. You guys are all delayed.
yeah.
So
That wasn't an incredible
did
rant you
want to
had
call
about
that out.
here.
Thank you for bringing that up. I was having a great day the other day reading the meltdowns by some people on Twitter about the cost of YouTube. I'm canceling YouTube TV. I'm going to Hulu. See you later. Going next. And then the Hulu will jump. I can't wait. I love it.
Yeah.
Cable.
Yeah.
Through and through, baby.
All right, let's go to Thursday night football here. Interesting one here. Chargers favored by 2.5, looking to bounce back against their abysmal loss to the Buccaneers the other day. Point total in this one is 42. Do the Chargers even things out here with the Broncos, Matt?
Do they? I don't know. I make the game 2.5, but I'll tell you what concerns me. I liked it at 3 with that for Denver. Herbert limping around a little bit in that game. That second half did not look good for the Chargers. Look at the doors blown off, and Herbert was took a hit in that first half and didn't look the same after it. So I don't know what he looks like. Just the Chargers in general, just
Yeah.
they feel so banged up. But big game for both teams from a seeding perspective, that especially for the Chargers. I mean,
Yeah.
they are up 2 games on the next wild card team in the AFC for that last spot, but um, a win here, they kind of cement their playoff, future, and
Oh,
then they're in there for seeding. So we'll see.
kind
I
of
got
looking,
a good game, but I don't really have anything to be
kind of
honest.
looking forward to seeing Harbaugh versus Peyton here. Kind of interesting. Two
Yeah,
good.
I mean, what we see, the Chargers beat them the first time in Denver by 7, so that was one of their better wins on the season, actually.
Okay.
Um, I think Denver might get a little revenge in this game. I could be wrong. I want a 3. If I see a 3, I can tell
2.5.
you I'll be on
No.
Denver.
Yeah. Uh, Lions going on the road in Chicago. Chicago 6.5 point home dogs here. Point total in this one is now 48, Matt. And there's a couple of interesting wrinkles here. Obviously, with the news of David Montgomery, the injury woes for the Lions continue, and everybody all but has them dead now in terms of going to the Super Bowl. So does Dan Campbell get them to rally and win by a decent margin in Chicago? Or are these two teams going to continue to play each other close?
I just have to say I'm enjoying the Lions meltdown. Maybe this shows you who I am. I love that
Yeah. I
just
mean,
joined the Lions bandwagon. I
especially
love
when you're onside kicking to
Oh, you
stop the
dope.
quarter.
Oh, you dope. 11 minutes left
You're
and
in the game.
onside kicking
You're
down
in
10
the
points.
game.
What
Stupid.
a moron.
I
I
don't get
mean,
that.
just so stupid. Um, I love every minute of the fading of the Lions. I mean, I like the Lions, but the Dan Campbell love has gone way too far. And we said it last week. I love that the Bills won that game outright, all over that. Yeah, it felt good. Hey, real quick about speaking of David Montgomery, did you see this? So like his season total yards rushing prop was 775 and a half yards.
Yeah.
So obviously his season ends with a season-ending knee injury.
Hmm. Yeah. What's he at?
775. How
Oh, get
how
the fuck out.
psychotic is that a bad beat for people who bet the over on his rushing?
Rigged, man. It's rigged.
The script, it's back.
Oh,
Oh
man.
God,
Half
that's
a
a
yard.
brutal beat. I had to bring that up. I saw that
Ooh,
on Twitter. I was like, oh my God.
ooh. That's
That's a real tough one.
uh,
I don't want to bet this game, but I will say I strongly lean the Lions.
me
I know
too.
it's a little chalky, but
Did you hear Troy Aikman and Joe Buck the other day
uh,
about Caleb Williams?
oh, what? Oh,
I'm paraphrasing, but they were kind of just talking about Caleb Williams, and they were like, "Yeah, he feels like he's defeated, and he's running out of gas, and he's tired." And they're showing him on the sidelines, all fatigued and everything like that. But they kind of went off a little bit in terms
yeah,
of highlighting Caleb Williams running out of steam here.
yeah. I'm sorry. I just think back to what I was telling people before he even got drafted that I don't wasn't a big Caleb fan at USC. I think he was overrated, and I think you're
Yeah,
seeing it. By the way, Justin Fields won more games with less talent last year on the Bears. How's that looking for you?
yeah,
They
that's
stacked
super.
your roster for you, and the team still sucks. I think one thing, the reason I lean the Lions real quick, and then we can get off this and on to the next one. I lean the Lions because it feels like the ultimate "fuck you, we're still here" game.
Right.
And who better to see on your schedule than Chicago, who
I mean,
cannot stop the run? I mean,
Dan Campbell's dropping f bombs on live radio.
oh yeah, yeah, he's lost it, and that now maybe I'll turn back to Dan Campbell if you start doing that stuff. I love it. Be the heel, be the bad guy now. Turn into a villain. That's when I like Dan Campbell. I think big game for Jahmyr Gibbs. The Bears can't stop the run whatsoever, and the Lions in general, they need a win. The one fair side, why it's just a lean outdoors. Chicago's going to be freezing. Their offense clicks when they're in the dome, but when you go outdoors, it's a different team. So we'll see.
Detroit won't be freezing
Well, it's a dome.
in Chicago.
Yeah, not in Chicago. I'm saying that no, but Chicago's used to that weather. The team plays in that weather. They get
Yeah,
it.
but you said Chicago's gonna be freezing. Like,
Yeah, Chicago. Oh, I got you. I meant that with
yeah.
the actual city. It's gonna be
No, I'm talking about the teams, not
cold.
the
No,
cities.
the team will be cold as well.
Right,
And
right, right. The line's
uh,
gonna be cold too.
I don't. Caleb can't throw in the heat, so I don't know.
Caleb can't play in room temp.
I think it's an under game. 48 feels high.
That is high. Yeah. All right, let's get the hell off this game.
Gross.
Browns and Bengals. We got to pick up the pace. Browns and
Yay.
Bengals. Bengals favored by 7.5. Can the Browns play the spoilers here?
No.
I Dorian Thompson Robinson, right?
Gross. I don't want nothing to do with this game. I think I will say I wanted to play Cleveland, but I would have done it with Jameis.
Yeah,
I
not
will
DT.
not do it with DTR. Bengals, by the way, not dead yet. Will
They're
say
not.
Denver wins this week. They're a game out.
I love
Watch
the fact
out.
that Joe Burrow and Zach Taylor were jawing at each other in the win in Tennessee last
Oh
week.
yeah.
So I could see blowout territory for the Bengals there, but still just going to be
Stop
not
it.
an entertaining game. Let's go to Rams in New York to take on the Jets. Jets are 3.5 home dogs here. Point total on this one is 46.
Took everything in my willpower to not bet the Jets so far, plus 3.5. I make this game
Really? Oh, I
1.5.
thought you would have been the other way. Why?
No, I've been shitting on the Jets on the podcast the last couple of weeks, and I'm starting to think Aaron Rodgers just might be a warm weather quarterback now. What he's looked great the last 2 weeks, all of a sudden, lighting it up down in Miami and in Jacksonville. Can he bring it back to New York? I'm not sure. Um, Everybody loves the Rams. They beat the Bills 2 weeks ago. They beat the Niners in a rain game on Thursday night. Um, could just see that being a little tricky. 3.5's an interesting number. I'll say that. I make the
Speaking of
game. I make the game 1.5.
speaking of 3.5, Colts favored by 3.5, taking it on division rival Titans. Point total on this one is 42.5. That's a stay away from me. These teams always seem to play each other pretty close.
Close game, very close to betting the Colts, though. This is getting now down to 3.5. And if I see three pop, I will smash. I will say that. The Colts are a good home team. They should have won that game. The concern here is how do they bounce back from last week? That game was over. Jonathan Taylor breaking that 41-yard touchdown run where he dropped the ball at the goal line, no touchdown, something a rookie does, not Jonathan Taylor. Absolute dope. All of a sudden, Denver scores a touchdown. Their receiver throws a pick six. Like, how do you bounce back from that? Little scary. On the flip side, Tennessee 2-12 ATS this year. That's bottom five NFL team in history at this rate. They are horrendous against the spread.
Just a quick note for my Bills pick. I am seeing a 14, so I'll be taking 14.
Oh, well, definitely.
14.5. Oh, Jesus. And now I lost my freaking place.
Well,
Oh,
you
here
were
we
on the
go.
Rams
Your
defense.
Niners going on the road in Miami to take on the Dolphins. Dolphins favored by 1 here. Point total is 44.5. Can the Niners salvage any hope for this season, Matt?
I don't know anymore, Tuck. I really don't. Both teams have like the slimmest of slim playoff margins, not technically eliminated, still something you can play for, at
Oh,
least
fuck.
mentally prepare for. Neither are making the playoffs, just to be clear.
Right.
Don't know what team shows up. One thing I will say, I do not trust Mike McDaniel to outcoach Kyle Shanahan, lean 49ers.
Ah, interesting. I should have made that connection and I didn't. I don't know why.
Brock
Buccaneers.
Purdy's first game that he came in to play against Miami a couple years ago, his first game when Garoppolo got hurt in that game, he led them to a victory in that game.
Right, right.
First time they played against each other as
Tampa,
coaches.
Tampa going to Dallas on Sunday Night Football. Dallas 4-point home dogs here. Point total on this one is 48.5, excuse me. The 4 is weird to me, considering how the Cowboys offense, as you mentioned earlier, Matt, is looking better and the defense is looking better. I could see this being a field goal game on primetime football, don't you?
Yeah, I could see myself betting this game both ways, and I hear my friend Sal saying, "Fuck you, Prisco. We got to go with Baker." I know he will. I wanted to fade Baker, but the number's not there anymore. It was at 4.5, and I was thinking Dallas down to 4, 3.5's popping. It gets a 3, I'll be on Tampa. I'll say that much.
And
Tampa's a
then
better team right now, no
and
question.
then, and then we have Monday Night Football. I've seen this line move full point since this morning, Matt. Packers hosting the New Orleans Saints. Spread on this one is 14.5, obviously favoring the Packers. Point total on this one is 42 on this one. Not sure what the status of Alvin Kamara is. I wonder if we saw any Kamara news because this was 13.5 this morning. So that's a full point jump there.
Saints in general, like Derek Carr, is he going to try to play? Like Kamara's groin injury, is he going to play? On top of it, if you want Matt Prisco to not put Green Bay on his card, this is the way to do it. 14.5.
A lot of
It's a
points.
lot of
Oh,
points. I don't know if I can get there. It is a Monday night game. I'll probably throw a first TD bet and hit it because I'm on fire with those. But other than that, I don't have anything in this game. One thing I will say, Tuck, I
yeah.
know that I have Philadelphia ticket to win the Super Bowl, but I did take a shot at the Super Bowl finalist bet, and I did bet this week the Bills and the Packers to play in the Super
Ooh.
at plus 1900. I love what the Packers are doing. If you look at the Packers, they have 4 losses, 2 to Detroit. The first game against Detroit was when Jordan Love first
Yeah.
came back, and in the rain. It was the game against the Vikings that they played right before Detroit, which is actually Jordan Love's first game. He's basically playing on one leg. They lost by 2. And then the other game was the Brazil game opening night against Philly. They've lost to Detroit, Philadelphia, and the Vikings. The 3 best teams in football, pretty much, other than the Bills. So, like, I don't know. I like what the Packers are doing. They're playing well at the right time.
Matt, you mentioned your hot streak of first TD bets here. Can you do me a favor?
Yeah.
Can you tweet them out
If I
for
tweet it out, it'll lose, but I'll do it. I'll do
just
it for the
do it?
people. I'll do it for the
Do it.
people. I'm on fire. I've hit
Yeah.
since Thanksgiving. I've hit like 6 of
Just
them.
be like, hey,
I've,
first TD, what do you got to lose here?
I've played 9 since Thanksgiving, and I'm 6-3 on first touchdowns. It's beautiful.
Tweet them all.
Yeah,
Tweet them all. How many have you had?
6 out of 9.
6 out of 9. Okay. And those odds are usually like, depending on the player, but it's usually like plus 600 to plus 900, maybe higher.
I got CD Lamb at like plus 1200 last Monday night
Wow.
football against the Bengals. That was beauty.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Blast
I'll
those
tweet it
out.
out. I'll tweet it
Just
out.
blast out a list on
Fine.
like Sunday or something.
I don't play that many. I usually play like 1 or
Well,
2.
whatever you play, you get my
Just
point.
telling you, you
Whether
should have a list. I don't
one
want to think the
to
people are going
four,
to think I got one for
7
every
to
game.
18 games, just fucking tweet them out.
Fine.
Enough with your superstition
The
bullshit.
key, the key to first touchdowns, though, I'll also say is I play them with an anytime touchdown. So if
Oh,
the first, and I usually like to pick a guy that's a plus number. So if there's a running back like Derrick Henry, I'm never picking first touchdown Derrick Henry. It's not worth it to me. And he's only going to be like plus 290 anyways on those things. So like I look for players in different spots that are getting a plus next to their name for an anytime touchdown
yeah.
and then combo it with the first touchdown. That way, if you hit one of them, you're still up. So even if they don't score the first touchdown, if they do score in the game, it's a win.
Yeah, it's a means of insurance too, if in
Correct.
case.
Insurance, but you could double up and lose. So that has happened to me. So, but here's what it is.
I'm looking at Thursday night football just real quick.
Yeah.
Colton plus 1,000. Just
Who is
saying.
it? Cortland Sutton.
Plus 1,000.
It's not bad, but not a bad number. I haven't got there yet. I gotta look.
Yeah, I'm just
I'll put
saying
something. I
that's
will put something out for Thursday. The standalone games, I always do something. I will dabble.
all right, man.
Okay.
Let's get right to it.
Best bets.
Best bet time. I'm looking to bounce back here. Still looking at the same team, not the spread as you took earlier. Best bet Steelers, Ravens under 45 for me here, Matt. And you mentioned earlier that this is going to be a dogfight, and I couldn't agree with you more. Forecast calls for cold weather, windy with 40-mile-an-hour gusts. Going to be very difficult, obviously, from an offensive perspective. And we don't know the stats of George Pickens. I do think he plays, so that's not really a huge factor in this. But just go back to 2020 with these two teams. And I did. Game totals in 2020, 28-24. Okay, fucked. 19-14, 20-19, 16-13 in 2021, 16-14, 16-13 in 2022, 17-10, 17-10 in 2023, and earlier this season, 18-16. This is a short rest with Saturday game here for both teams here. Steelers have the cheeks. Cheeks.
And the Cheeks.
Yeah.
Antonio Brown still on the team?
Steelers have the Chiefs next week. Ravens have the Texans. These two teams just know each other too well. It's going to be close. It's going to be low scoring. That's going to continue. It's as simple as that. Under 45 here for me, best bet.
All right, buddy. Yeah, I agree there. I like the under in that game. Like I said earlier, the slugfest. Um, yeah, support it. I think it's gonna be another grinded out close game. Um,
Like Lamar Jackson's not throwing 4 or 5 touchdowns in this game. And that's what we all just witnessed last week. I know it was against the Giants, but still, that's what's fresh in everybody's mind.
mhm.
Uh, you know, I think TJ Watt might play. I know he got banged up. We'll see that, but still, give me the under here.
All right, bud. I'm with you.
All right, let's get to it, Matt.
All right. Best bet for me.
And you bet this ahead of time during gingerbread making on Saturday, Matt.
Yeah, I was astonished at the line. I couldn't believe it. And turns out the line's the same. So I'm excited and I didn't need to bet it when I did, but I'm happy I did because I love this game. All right. It's right there for you. This number's still alive. Arizona Cardinals, Carolina Panthers. Arizona is a 4.5 point favorite, and I'm taking the dog. Give me Carolina plus the 4.5 here. Carolina failed last week to win and cover was my one loss on the sheet that we have. Um, but despite picking them, like we talked about, I did say I didn't love the spot for them. So I should have faded them. I didn't fade them, but if I did, and even though I didn't, I still love them here. So going back to basics for me, this is all about a spot, and I love the Panthers in this spot. Arizona lost 3 straight games before coming home to beat a lifeless Pats team that showed up with zero effort. Looked like they quit in that game. So, as well as Arizona played,
Mhm.
I'm not giving them a ton of credit there. I think anybody could have just played that game and won. Now they're going to go travel across the country to play a Panthers team who was hot, had that bad game, but still overall, Tuck is playing good football over the last month and a half. My one concern is Bryce Young went backwards last week. But I really do think that was more about the Cowboys pass rush getting in there, disrupting him early and often.
Something
Um,
the Cardinals don't have really.
and I was just gonna say, who isn't very good at pass rushing? That would be the one Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals
Yep.
ranked 30th in pass rush win rate at just 32%. So that says to me that Bryce, you'll have the time to have a day. I don't really think traveling West Coast to East Coast or vice versa is really that big of a deal anymore. When I handicap games, they don't really, extra point here or anything like that, like people used to do, myself included. Um, I really don't think it's that big of a deal uh,
Oh, I
any,
still make note of it.
but at this time of year, I think it is for certain teams, and Arizona meets that bill. They're traveling 1,800 miles to play in this game. That's the 5th time this season they've done a similar trip this
Wow.
year.
Wow.
And that's not including the way back, right? So this is a team that is trending in the wrong direction. They've had a lot of travel. They look like they're tired when they're out there. And to me, I just think where you have a team that's playing motivated football versus a team that they're 7-7. They're fighting for a wild card spot. So you're going to get an effort from the Cardinals. But I still like Carolina here. Carolina's last 4 home games, Tuck. Win against New Orleans, a 3-point overtime loss to the Chiefs, a 3-point overtime loss to Tampa, in last week's bad game against Dallas. So, right, the point I'm making here is, again, I told you I love the spot for Carolina. This is coming off a loss. They're staying at home against an Arizona team that's coming across the country for the 5th time this year. I make Carolina a 1-point favorite in this game, or excuse me, 1-point underdog in this game. But I'm getting 3.5 points of value through a key number. Give me the Panthers. Best bet. I think they have a chance to win this game outright.
Um, this is over 2,000 miles of travel, by the way. Just want to
Oh,
put.
okay. Well, there you go. Well, it depends on the flight path, pal.
Yeah, I'm looking at the flight path right now,
Well,
Bucko.
well, fine. 1,800. Yeah, fine. They said at least 1,800 miles.
Let me see.
1,000.
Oh
Fine.
yeah, you do have that arch. Yeah, look at
A
that
little
arch.
arch. Got a little arch.
I'll bet.
Either way,
Um,
1,800 miles
so
long trip.
I will also note that this is Carolina's final home game of the year,
Yes.
and they want to go out with a bang. And I feel like the arrow is starting to point up on that franchise, as silly as that sounds. But the way that they've been playing lately, You can tell like they want to take a step forward here, and I think they're going to try and send a message.
Well, let me ask you this, Tuck. If
Yeah,
you're a Patriots fan, how happy would you be if the Patriots were playing like Carolina to play the last month and a half?
Matt, I would be fucking ecstatic, and
Exactly. Yeah,
I'd
that's
want
like
to
the goal.
I'd want to watch. I'd want to watch, and I don't. I was
They're an
watching Red
exciting
Zone on
team.
Sunday, Matt.
They're an exciting team that has like they're losing games, which is still technically good for them because they're going to get the higher draft pick. And then, but they're playing close games. They're playing competitive losses. That's what you like out of this team. That's the goal for these teams that are not winning games. So I'll say that. The other thing I just want to say before we wrap here, what a weekend. We get college football playoffs. I'll be posting my picks. I have a side in all four, even though some of them, yeah, the value's pretty much gone. But at the same time, I will post all my football playoff picks. A couple Saturday NFL games we went through, a full
Mhm.
college basketball slate. So throw another six pack up there. We'll do better. Like first best bet of the year.
Hey,
Got to call this out. Arizona was up 13 friggin' points with like
uh,
6 minutes left, and
I
they
saw
go
that
on
one.
UCLA goes on a 22-6 run to end the game. I was disgusted. I almost
Yeah, I
blew
was
the Christmas tree.
Matt, I just real quick, what caliber of best bet was this Panthers plus 4.5?
Just a regular one.
Regular
Wasn't
best bet.
wasn't like Packers last week or
Hammer.
Steelers.
The
But
hammer.
it's like my average. Yeah, it's my average.
All right, I just wanted to
Feel good about
gauge
it.
that. All right, just a quick recap here for the likes. Chiefs, Texans for me under 41.5. Falcons minus 8.5. Bills minus 14. Jacksonville plus 1.5. Double like there. For your likes, you had Pittsburgh plus 6.5, Washington plus 3.5, Minnesota minus 3, and Jacksonville obviously for best bet. I had Steelers Ravens under 45. And your best bet for the week is Carolina plus 4.5. Matt, we need to real quick. I know we have to wrap, but
Hmm.
what the hell are we doing for the next 2 weeks in terms of
Good question. I was gonna ask you. Are we doing like a
uh
Christmas Eve pod? What are we doing?
not Christmas
Keep it
Eve.
up.
That's not gonna happen. And then my kid's birthday is the
I know your
26th.
kid's birthday, so that ain't happening.
So we got to figure it out. But
Yeah.
what I can tell you in the audience is that this will not, for the next 2 weeks, will not be published on Wednesdays,
Yeah.
obviously with the holidays. Pain in the balls, I know, but we'll figure it out. And I don't know if I want to do like a Monday the 23rd podcast. Like I think that's too early.
Yeah. Be
But
doing games before the Monday night football game gets tough, but we could talk about it.
maybe we could do like Thursday night or Friday morning because you're off, right?
I'm off all
Yeah.
next 2 weeks
Maybe we do like a Thursday night or a Friday morning setup.
in for that. In for that.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll figure it out. I don't know. We're just brainstorming right now. That's all.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Well, that's going to do it for our week 16 slate. Again, subscribe if you haven't. Leave us 5-star reviews. Follow us at Better In-Laws and turn on those notifications, right? So you'll be notified when we publish the podcast. And you're going to name for next week because we don't know. We don't even know when the hell we're going to be publishing it, right?
We
So
don't know.
I got to
Turn
turn
them
on my
off.
own notifications here. Jesus. Um, Thank you everybody for listening. Really support everybody. And hey, Merry Christmas, everybody. Enjoy, and we'll talk to you guys at some point next week. We'll figure it out. And good luck this weekend.
See you.